Hey everybody, Rodamon here. Thanks for tuning in to episode 10 of the Speedrun Challenge. So, I got some helpful tips. Let me go over them straight away. Jenko Zwar mentioned the bedroom here I could just use as storage, especially storage for the ugly stuff. So that's a very, very good point. Then, additionally, Conrad mentioned that the medicine ought to be moved to the hospital. I like that as well, so we'll go ahead and do that. Herbal medicine will be moved up here. I'm just going to call it medicine and move all of the manufactured medicine up there. Of course, these aren't hospital beds, not yet at least, but they might be in the future. And then the last tip I got was from Mr. Kiffy. Mentioning that the reason they're not moving the bad weapons and apparel is because of a quality modifier here. We'll modify that and allow everything to be moved up and out. I do want to keep some of the clothing, but most of this clothing I want to just get rid of. I want to burn. And that is, well, that's that. So as far as the planetkiller goes, I'm about halfway there. Which seems crazy to me, but yep, hit the halfway mark. Alright, so now we're hauling the bad clothing where it belongs. That's perfect. And I'll just keep expanding this stockpile along the riverbank. Well, maybe next time. So the real goal at this point is to start the deep drilling. So we need to finish off the research for deep drilling and then get the ground penetrating radar and get one of those constructed up right away so that we might be able to fund the ship construction, because without it, we're really not going to be able to get the ship going. Now, it may seem pointless, initially at least, that I am dutifully removing all of the clothing, but the end goal here is, and let me deconstruct this, the end goal here is to not have any additional wealth that I don't need. So for instance, all of this herbal meds, I'm not going to need it all. I could probably get rid of a considerable amount of it and still not suffer. So there's deep drilling. Ground penetrating radar is up next. I don't really care who uninstalls this. And then this room can be for some of my... Why won't we store... Oh, because of the hit points? Alright, let's see. Allow any... And I'll just keep some of the toques. We'll haul them all out. Whoa. Yeah, I definitely did not want that to all become roofed off. Incorrect there, buddy. Nice try. So we're hauling all those toques I used as practice. And then additionally, I'm going to rearrange this a bit. Put the light up there. Just some minor tweaks and changes to the room's layout. We still haven't even deconstructed this area. Now, of course, this room is a little strange at this point. It doesn't serve the purpose it used to. So here I'm going to put, let's see, textiles of cloth. And the other one, leathers. Well, I'm not going to specify the leathers unless I have to. And here's to hoping I actually get a good jade poker table this time and not just some more garbage. Out here, I'm going to store steel and blocks. Metals and blocks. They don't decay, and as such, they don't really need to be inside. So stone blocks, steel, uranium, plasteel, gold, jade, silver. All that stuff can be out there. It's lower priority than my inside storage shelves, so we're not going to haul anything out there that doesn't belong. And then additionally, I'm going to set up some auto doors to speed up movement around the base. Unfortunately, that will disturb their sleep. Wooden auto doors, because once they're inside the base, I think the damage has already been done. At that point, it doesn't really matter that the doors are out of wood. And wood opens insanely fast. And I don't want to use up my steel. Ooh, a Go Frenzy, that's going to help out. It's too bad it wasn't a crafting inspiration, but can't win them all. Now at this point, I don't really care how fast we make that poker table. So I'm going to go ahead and roof that off. Now the doors to the base here really ought to be changed away from wood, as that's not that secure of a material anymore. So as you can see, this is the test of pathing. They walked in and, oh, ground penetrating radar. We definitely want to get that pronto. That's probably a pretty good spot for it. And first trap. Got him. Alright, we'll get that constructed. In the meantime, let me take a look at the remaining research that we've got. IEDs would not be bad. They'd be pretty handy. I do have flak. I think gas operations towards turrets is still the way to go, because there's no real point in having a reactor without turrets. Now it is spring, and looking at my stockpile, I'm going to make some hops. Let's just rename this because it's going to constantly change crops. Farm 1 and Farm 2. So hops and rice. That'll work for me. Alright, ground penetrating radar. Perfect. Next up, we'll get a deep drill. Ooh, I'm actually curious what is literally inside my base. the stone blocks we could probably stop doing. This is plasteel. Oh, that is most wonderful. So once we're finished with these marble blocks, suspend it. And I'm going to go ahead and make another drill. I do have 2 miners. I might as well have 2 drills. Alright, JD. Move some of that roof and construct some of that stuff. Now, for the rest of the stockpile, I'm going to aim to see if I can't store everything sort of out of sight, out of mind. We'll see about that. So this stockpile is going to be a higher priority than the other stockpile, just to try to keep things attractive. Got gas separation, autocannons, and then precision rifling. Now, one thing I'm going to do is to forbid all these items and then change the priority to low so I can unforbid this stuff. Now, it's going to start to get pretty warm in the base. So I think what I'm going to do is change the way this base is laid out just a tad, a smidgen. And put the chimney here. And that way this thoroughfare, this area in here, doesn't need to keep being all roof removed back and forth. I don't think I'm going to bother using 2 researchers really ever. So I'm going to break down the other research bench. And hopefully that will fund some of the steel I need. Now, as far as steel goes, I do realize that I am currently, at the moment, bottlenecked for it. So I'm looking for the closest steel that Babalu could mine up. And here is some right here. And once we get that additional steel, I guess we could get steel out of these crowsleep caskets. Although I don't want to wake the dead. Or the soon-to-be dead, if I can help it. Just sort of leave them. I don't know why I'd want to leave them, but... Oh, he is going on a monstrously fast mining spree. At this point, I don't really need a tree felling zone. I'm going to get rid of them. We no longer rely on wood for fuel. Alright, my table is bad. Unsurprising. But I do have yet another for a copy. I'll just build it in here. She's working at advanced components. I know this blocks the interaction spot of the smelter, but that's okay. I'll just be careful with it. So she's cranking out components and advanced components. she should be hauling more steel in one clip than that. Man, this jade is a curse. Knowing that it could possibly have really attractive furniture and just not having, or recreation items, and just not having it be high enough quality to keep it is killing me. Alright, so there's some mega sloths that are manhunting. There's not very many of them. Alright, Lulu. And I'm gonna go stand... Oh, is this one of them? No. Okay, good. I was fearful for a second. They might be coming south, so Bubbaloo, I'm gonna have you deep drill. Yeah, they're coming south. So one of them is going through the kill box. Which reminds me, I ought to do a little bit of tree trimming and slag hauling. And the other one wants to ambush Bubbaloo from behind. This will be way too much meat. Yeah, let's not let it melee us. And it's just gonna trap itself. Chunk. Now the other one's gonna go through the same torment. So we'll get everyone out here helping to shoot. Oh, win with the shotgun. I forgot what weapon she had. I never actually manufactured a weapon for her, so... Because I don't want to have to keep replacing the deadfall traps. Ideally, I would want to shoot them before they trigger all the traps. Alright, well, thank you, Storyteller, for sending me free meat, as far as I'm concerned. I think what I'll do is suspend Butcher because the Mega Sloths are more meat dense as corpses than they are stacks of food, and I don't really have a lot of space for the food, so I'll just keep it like this. Someone else will put that fire out. Bob, don't even worry about it. So this is just an effort to remove cover, potential cover that the enemies might use. Okay, that wasn't a lot of mining, Bob. You're walking back with like 24. Why is there a warg just standing by? There's a lot of like dangerous megafauna. There's a bear and a warg. I don't think I'm the tastiest meal in the area, but it does make me a little uneasy. All right. Well, that came out well. Masterwork. So that allows us to refill our recreation much faster than, you know, excellent. And got our autocannon turrets, so now we need precision rifling and slug turrets. And between autocannon and slug, that should be enough to defend our base from would-be raiders. It doesn't take much. So thank you, JD, for finally, I think this was attempt number 3 or 4 of a good poker table. Alright, so for right now, what I'm going to do is haul all this stuff out. In fact, JD, I'm going to make you a hauler. Alright, and then this will be stockpile 1. Now that this is a roofed zone, I can probably keep these doors open. And it is a little dark in this corner. This will help to pretty up the base a bit. Plant matter. And I don't really plan on ever having smoke leaf, because that makes you pretty useless. But I'll call it plant matter nonetheless. Okay, Bob's going to replant some of our beautiful crops. The next project I have for JD, once he hauls all this stuff, is maybe making some more cloth tables. Or chairs, rather. So if you look, 182% rec refill rate, which is crazy good. This is Dex play, this is Dex play, so I really need to get rid of the horseshoe pin, as it's a really inefficient rec source comparatively. Okay, JD is tidying up the base. And this main room is now going to become a little bit less ugly. Wonderful. Now the only problem is these hops are going to spoil. I don't know if I'm going to min-max manage that. Alright. JD is no longer Captain Hall. What I will do is make some chairs. Maybe stand in the light. And then Unison plasteel mining. It's a beautiful thing. Where she cranks out advanced components. And the more advanced components I can stockpile, the better. Ooh, a volcanic winter. Is that all you got, Randy? Okay, so this used up a considerable amount of our cloth. Soon I'll be able to make some autocannon turrets, and as you can see, if I place them, let's say roughly here, there is a huge amount of opportunity to shoot on enemies that are pathing to my base, which is exactly what I want. Turrets are a very efficient use of steel, whereas traps are not. So I don't hate traps, but they're just not very efficient at dealing with raiders. Its steel to damage ratio is bad, in other words. Now, I'm always looking around for some... I guess at this point, I will claim that. I'm going to open it, bury those guys. I'm not sure why I'm having Bubbaloo do this. Win. Why are you out here? Playing billiards. Well, it doesn't seem like it. So I'm just going to wait for these guys to bleed out and break down the cryosleep caskets for their materials. Lulu at this point has pretty decent crafting skill. So it's not a lot of uranium. I did receive a lot of comments saying, oh, you'll get a lot of uranium doing this. You really won't. There really isn't not a lot of uranium in the ancient caskets. But there is steel, and I was somewhat bottlenecking on steel, so that is why I am breaking them down finally. I could do some more deep drilling or deep mining in here. I guess I shouldn't call that deep. I should call that strip mining. But the thing with that is I'm not all that interested in mining up more limestone or whatever. So ideally, I want to be going straight for the good stuff. Bob, I'm going to keep you on the plasteel. He really doesn't want to do the plasteel. JD's straightening everything out. Alright, I might have to, well, once this steel node is done, I might zone Bob so that he doesn't leave. But we did get a fair amount of steel from this. And we have about 1 year left. This is the nice halfway mark. Alright, so that whole node is tapped. Marquez and Rennick have perished. Well, Rennick has. Marquez is still bleeding out for a bit longer too. That's a respectable amount of steel, given that we had just about none pretty recently. It's getting a little chilly in the base here, so what I'm going to do is, because of the volcanic winter, I'll have the heat piped back into the base. Because working in bad temperature slows us down. And then additionally, I guess a heater is in order. Once JD is up. Maybe 2 heaters. If I added more vents, that would work as well. But this center room here, as long as I close the doors, serves to be a very good... Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. Rejected proposal. What that means is that they're no longer in a relationship at all. Bubbaloo is going to be very unhappy about this for quite some time now. And he is inheriting kind of an awful bedroom as a result. Now that we have heaters, the temperature should bounce back, and allow us to mine a little bit faster. JD is going to bury the dead. We might be cultists, but we're not evil cultists. And then haul that uranium back. Poor Bubbaloo. So checking the social. He'll be upset by it for some time to come. Now at this point, I ought to be saving up for some nice heavy-hitting turrets. Which means I need to store plasteel. I think what I'm going to do is even have JD jump on the plasteel train. So what I'll do is set up a wall like this to protect people from moving around. Yeah, maybe I'll hold off on that. JD is going to have a lot of construction projects. We have all the components we need. Oh, poor Bob. His mood is dropping. He's also wreck deprived, so I think he'll actually be the first one to get mandated recreation. I've been holding off on it because no one's mood has required it, but now, honestly, his will. I don't want him to... Oh, he really should not be sharing a bed. Alright, those two heaters have made the base a little bit more temperate. It is getting a little chilly out there, though. But that's all the time I have for this episode. So, if you have any tips, tricks, feedback for me, drop me a line. Thank you to Janko, Conrad, and Mr. Kiffle for your feedback for this episode. And I'm looking forward to having you tune in next episode where we try to get the defenses built quickly so that I can build a reactor and start to defend that. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you tune in next time. Adios.